You always think as an anxious person that you will be having a moment that defines where you cross over that line between being anxious all the time and no longer anxious. You can step into situations that you don't feel nervous, don't feel apprehensive about, and this will come because you've achieved something. Whether it's a goal you've achieved, whether it's a skill that you've uploaded, whether it's just a recommendation from a boss or a colleague that you have done the thing. And you always think of it as hanging your hat on the acknowledgement of others, the acknowledgement of a goal, the satisfaction of a goal that will tick you over to that place where you no longer feel anxiety. And yet most of the time this can never be further from the truth, because while things of achievements can help a little bit, if you don't actually address the skills behind having that feeling of getting through the anxiety itself or getting through those feelings of uncomfortable, then you always remain with them. If you're always trying to push them down, so instead of acknowledging what's happening, you can often try to push it away, push it down, and that big monster stays in the room. It's just locked into the corner, and sometimes that corner gets bigger and bigger, and eventually it just explodes. So what we want to do sometimes is actually realize how we get around anxiety in itself. Instead of thinking of it that we can outperform it, we've got to acknowledge it and work and lean into it. So the first thing is getting used to that concept of being uncomfortable isn't an acknowledgement that you don't have the skills to do it. I just feel uncomfortable in that moment. Then it's about making sure I can breathe, making sure I can reset, and making sure I can pause in those uncomfortable moments, but still leaning into the task itself. I haven't lost the skills to be able to do something. I haven't lost the ability to be able to do it. I'm just feeling uncomfortable and raw in this moment. Often those feelings of uncomfortable will pass as soon as you get into the skill itself. And if you realize that, you're much more likely to actually start the skill. Sometimes it's anxiety that blocks us from doing it in the first place, or when we're feeling overwhelmed, we've got to understand how we can ground ourselves. And if we can understand how to ground ourselves, breathe, reset, and go again, those are always the skills that will serve us later in life and serve us throughout life. So I don't have to have it as my enemy. I can actually use it as a skill development that will serve me in a much better way in the future, rather than hoping some sort of monumental moment will be the case between whether I have anxiety or I don't have anxiety. It's okay to keep feelings of unsure, uncomfortable, but they don't have to define you. Let the skill, let the knowledge that you've built, let the practices of being able to breathe and ground yourself and reset be the things that define you, not the actual feeling of anxiety or nervousness or feeling I'm not worthy to be here. Let those things be put aside, and yet let the skills shine through and do the thing that you want to do. I hope this is a good little reminder about, if you're always looking, that it will be through a set of achievements that get rid of anxiety, rather than the skill practices of being able to breathe, ground yourself and reset, then you're always still running away from the anxiety itself. But you can lean into it, acknowledge being uncomfortable, and get through it. I hope this little video helps. Take care. Remember to be kind. The person to be kind to is yourself. See you on the next video.